Most people watching House of the Dragon right now think Team Black just won the war. They see Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne, King Aegon on the run, and Aemon Targaryen bleeding out at Harrenhal with a knife in his back. They think it's over. They are dead wrong. And the algorithm is pushing the surface-level recaps because nobody is looking at the terrifying truth hidden inside the latest episode. What HBO just pulled off isn't just a deviation from George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. It is a masterclass in psychological warfare that completely resets the power dynamic of Westeros. The real threat isn't a dragon rider. It's a man who just used a handful of silver hair dye to play Daemon and Rhaenyra Targaryen like absolute fiddles. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll realize why the fall of King's Landing was actually a trap, and how a brand new antagonist just orchestrated the most dangerous fake-out in television history. The illusion of victory. Let's talk about that opening shot. It's one of the most brilliant visual deceptions HBO has ever handed us. Ormund Hightower, played with chilling elegance by James Norton, marches right into the jaws of three massive dragons and calmly bends the knee to Daemon. On paper, it looks like a total surrender. Daemon thinks he has all the leverage. He demands Alicent's youngest son, Daeron Targaryen, as a hostage to secure the peace. Ormund nods, hands over a silver-haired boy, and steps back. If you weren't paying close attention to the framing, the lighting, and the absolute lack of panic from the Hightower soldiers, you missed the real play. Let's break down the actual state of the chessboard right now, because the contrast between what Rhaenyra thinks she controls versus reality is staggering. First, look at the Iron Throne. The illusion is that Rhaenyra sits safely in the Red Keep, believing the realm must submit. But the brutal reality is the empty treasury. The Greens completely drain the gold, leaving the city starving, and forcing Rhaenyra to feed nobles rats just to seize their food supply. Next, consider the ultimate hostage. The illusion is that Team Black holds Daeron Targaryen, completely neutralizing the Reach. The brutal reality? The fake prince. The boy in custody is nothing but a nameless double, while the real Daeron remains completely free. Finally, look at the sky. The illusion is total air superiority, with Team Black commanding massive numbers thanks to the newly claimed Dragonseeds. But the brutal reality is the sacking of Tumbleton. Ormund Hightower immediately broke his oath, seized the city, and now has the blue dragon Tessarion poised to strike. Why this off-book twist is genius. Now, for my book readers out there, you know this didn't happen in Fire and Blood. In the text, Ormund Hightower's host is nowhere near King's Landing at this point. So why did showrunner Ryan Condal alter the timeline? As a cinema insider, let me tell you exactly how the writer's room operates when a show hits a narrative vacuum. With Otto Hightower executed, Aegon MIA, and Aemond incapacitated by Alice Rivers, the show ran completely out of active villains. You cannot maintain high viewership or narrative tension if the protagonist has no equal adversary. They needed a new architect of chaos. Enter Ormund. By having Ormund hand over a fake Daeron, the writers pulled off a classic George R.R. Martin trope, the unreliable nature of identity in a medieval world without photographs or documentation. In a world where power resides where men believe it resides, a cup of silver hair dye can buy an army enough time to capture a kingdom. Look at Rhaenyra's reaction when she brings Alicent into the room to see the boy. Alicent's face drops for a split second. She knows instantly that is not her son, but she keeps her mouth shut. Why? Because as long as Rhaenyra is wasting time debating whether to execute or exile a fake child to the wall, the real Daeron Targaryen and his dragon, Tessarion, are marching unrestricted. The trap springing at Tumbleton. The episode ends with a punch to the gut. A bloody dragon keeper stumbles into the throne room with the horrific news. Ormund Hightower has already broken his oath. He didn't march back to Old Town. He marched straight to Tumbleton, a strategic market town just outside the capital, and slaughtered the garrison. And he didn't just take the city with men. He has Tessarion, the Copper Queen, hovering right over it. This sets up an impossible paradigm for Rhaenyra. If she sends her massive dragons, Vermithor or Silverwing, to burn Ormund out, she will incinerate Tumbleton and slaughter her own loyal small folk. completely destroying her fragile legitimacy as queen. If she does nothing, the Hightower army starves King's Landing out by cutting off the southern supply lines. Ormund Hightower didn't just survive an encounter with 3 dragons. He completely paralyzed the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms without losing a single drop of his own blood. The war hasn't ended. It just found a new mastermind.